I thought it was about time that I returned to our trip along the Canning Stock route after part 1 appeared some time ago. Here I am finally with part 2, from Coonawarra to Savory Creek. After leaving Coonawarra, we continued our journey south on the Canning Stock route. Many of the wells along the stock route are in poor condition, with little remaining of the original infrastructure. Wells 32 and 31 have only covers and some troughs, but 31 has an impressive stand of ghost gums with some most welcome shade, which makes it a very pleasant spot for a lunch stop. From there, the sand dunes were replaced by more rocky solid ground, so travel was quite easy. That night we camped at Thring Rock on the large open area at its base. This area is quite exposed, but we were lucky as it turned out to be a perfect evening. And next morning it was the beginning of another perfect day, with the rock bathed in the early light of the rising sun. From there we were back amongst the sand dunes. Little remains at well 28, just a bucket, some ironwork and a hole in the ground. But there is plenty of shade from the large melaleucas beside the well. In fact, Canning and other surveyors used the melaleucas as a sign that there was water nearby. The long-tailed lizard was already hiding in the shade. Well 26 was the first well to be reconstructed in recent times, and a good supply of water is available here. Travellers can share the water with wildlife by pouring water into the troughs. Zebra finches are regular visitors to the working wells. Shortly after leaving well 26, there are several large dunes. They are tough to get over, but there are nice views from the top. The terrain changed again, and clay pans and salt lakes became frequent. The track crossed over one clay pan before it passed well 25, which is right beside the road. The well has caved in, but much of the timber that used to support the trough is still there. Soon there is a junction with the east-west Talawanda track of Lenbidel. This track heads east to Windy Corner on the Garry Highway and to the west towards Newman. Well 24 is set beside a soak amongst low rocky hills, and was once a favourite meeting place for the Aborigines. A few remnants of equipment can be found here amongst the grass. There was plenty of water in the pool, and some galahs were lined up waiting for their turn. A nearby clearing surrounded by melaleucas and other large shrubs seemed an ideal place to set up a camp. In the morning there was a surprise when a large leafy stick insect was discovered attached to one of the tents. From well 24 the track heads in a westerly direction, passing through grasslands with low hills in the distance. An old fuel drum marks the ruins of well 23. Here a side track leads to the fuel dump, where fuel drums are delivered by the Capricorn Roadhouse near Newman, 400 kilometres away. You need to organise this and pay for it in advance. Georgia Bore is located at the next major intersection. The bore was drilled and equipped by the mining company CRA in 1991 for the use of travellers on the stock route. It has been reconditioned recently and offers plenty of easily accessible water. There are many tall trees here and a toilet, so it is a perfect spot for camping or for morning smokeout. From here the Canning Stock route turns south, while the Talawanda track continues west towards Newman. The track weaved its way around, across and through various clay pans and salt lakes. Some of them had low, salt-tolerant plants growing in them. Parts of the track showed evidence of recent rain, and we had to be careful not to stray into the muddy sections. Then we arrived at the dazzling white spectacle of Lake Disappointment, the biggest lake on the stock route. This expansive salt lake was named by explorer Frank Hann in 1897. He had followed the direction of creeks in the area, hoping to find a large freshwater lake, and was duly disappointed. We found a great campsite tucked away amongst the desert oaks. Next morning the track came back to Lake Disappointment, and here we stopped to have a look around. No one was disappointed as they looked out across the shimmering white salt that extended almost to the horizon. Savory Creek supplies water to Lake Disappointment from further west, deep in the little sandy desert. It was Canning who named Savory Creek after Bob Savory, a station owner in the Newman area who provided supplies for Canning's rabbit-proof fence survey. Sometimes there is a lot of water at the crossing point and it can be soft under the wheels. This time the water level was low and the crossing quite firm. In part 3, I'll continue our trip down the Canning Stock route to complete our journey at Wiluna.